I'm a bit of a purist in the sense that I think that the medium that we work on is a visual medium. So I'm about like, I'm personally as an audience, I'm drawn to things that look pretty and look cool. So if you can catch me with a great like visual, I'm gonna be hooked and I'll pay attention. And if you want to tell a story, then let's go there too. And then I'll, then it's about the story at that point, right? Because I'm looking
Mhm.
bored. I was just looking at eye candy, but I'll give points for eye candy. That's just me. I'm superficial.
What's up, fellas?
Hey Jim, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. Excited to talk to both of you. Where are you guys located? First of all, same city, different places around the country, or
We're in Los Angeles. Where are
okay?
you?
Chicago currently.
Okay, right on. Right on. I
It's
see you're festive. You're already rolling in Halloween. You're bringing
I
Halloween.
am. It does. It's 80 degrees in Chicago. It's like the end of the world. This is very uncommon. Okay, so something weird and spooky is going on here.
Yeah, that's everywhere.
It's
Yeah, for
LA
sure.
weather out here, so I'll take it.
Yeah, it's a weird world right now.
Totally, in so many ways. But
Yeah,
you guys are changing the world in some way too. So, first of all, I love the name Lola Pop Media. Where did that originate from? It's very catchy and kind of pop and like cool. Like it's very vibey and modern. I feel like that I wouldn't think of like a production house being named that, but I think it's a pretty awesome name.
yeah. I think it's been kind of like it's been a thing that's kind of been bouncing around in our heads for a while, like years actually. It's a combination of like visiting a old coffee shop when I first moved out to California from Dallas, Texas. It was called the
Mm-hmm.
Lulu's actually. No, it's no longer Lulu's is no longer with us. But name lives on. It's sort of morphed some things over time, and I've always wanted to kind of establish my own little operation. And so at some point I was like, okay, it's time to pull the trigger. And then the names just kind of came up. I think I had like, 20 of them picked out, like dog names, just sort of like ready to go when it's time to launch. It's like, okay, yeah. And it just made sense.
Yeah.
Time.
Kenny, were
Yeah.
you on board with this too from the beginning, or do you have any other ideas?
Yeah, Lola Pop was around before me, so I kind of
Oh,
adopted the name.
oh
Yeah.
well, then you just
He had to
joined the
accept it.
family in that case.
Yeah. He had to just accept it and go along with
I
it.
know, I know, I know, but I love the name though. It's a really cool name.
It's
Feel like
super
there's
cool.
thank you. Yeah.
How did you guys get together? What's the origin of your friendship and sort of then working relationship? How did that all get started?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting. I actually had a marketing company in San Diego with two friends, and one of our clients needed a video, and I had been kind of messing around with some amateur video myself, just kind of like my wife and I walking downtown. I'd shoot some video, and then I'd edit it, just all for fun. And our client needed this video, and one of my partners said, "Hey, I know this guy. He's great at video." And that's how I met Giovanni. He ended up doing a video for one of our clients. And when I saw the video, I was just blown away. That marketing company kind of dissolved after a while. And I just remember Giovanni and said, "Yeah, give this guy a call. I'm interested in production. I'd like to maybe like take that leap and see what it's like." So reached out to Giovanni, and we met for coffee, I believe. We just met for coffee. We talked, and yeah, just started coming around, carrying some bags around and just kind of following Giovanni and watching him. And man, that was almost 7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago. And so, yeah, it's kind of how we connected. I think we did a little commercial thing. I kind of jumped in as an actor, even though I should.
Yeah, that's actually how that was actually our first project. I was
Yeah,
like, that's great. You want to work in film, but why don't you go ahead and be on one? Why don't you go ahead and do
yeah.
this little thing? So that's actually how we got started because we casted him and another friend, actually the guy that introduced us into a little project that we had, and then yeah, and then he kind of got behind the scenes. Kind of
Kenny
Yeah.
started out as an actor in front of the camera. What a
yeah,
story!
that's what they do. Every actor just wants to be a director. That's all they do. Take over.
If you can call what I did acting, I think I just sat around and made hand motions, and that was it.
You made it. You sold it. You sold the whole thing.
Gee, I
But
mean, you
yeah,
got
no, it's
backup now,
blossomed.
Giovanni. If you ever need a talent on screen, there he is. You know what I
I
mean?
know, right? He's like triple threat, quadruple threat.
That's
But yeah, no,
fantastic.
it's been great. It's blossomed into a really cool friendship. We live right down the street from each
Oh,
other.
nice.
Families know each other and hang out all the time. So it's been a lot of
And
fun.
I remember like Kenny, I remember you showed me a video that you had done. I think it was like on seals. I think you like took a video like there was a bunch of like seals on rocks in La Jolla or something, and I was like, but I'd already talked to him and we kind of started a vibe, and I was like, I just got like producer vibe out of him. I was just kind of like, dude, you're like just the way his brain works, kind of like you're kind of like, like you kind of get a sense of him. He's kind of like laid back in the cut, kind of Teddy Pendergrass kind of vibe. And he just sort of like works. I don't know, like I think on a higher level. I mean, he's a creative dude. He plays drums, plays bass. He's an avid, like crazy creative musician. But I just thought, like, man, I don't know about the Seals, but I think producer, and you can be on camera too. he could probably be an actor. He's probably underscoring, so he can.
Well, you get all the talents secured in one place, right? So
yeah. One stop shop. Kenny Johnson.
For those that don't know what you guys do at Lola Pop Media, kind of give I guess in layman's term overview, for not the non-production people who might be watching and are curious, what does Lola Pop Media do and what sort of content you guys work with and create?
Yeah, so it's a great question. We've morphed a lot over the years into lots and lots of different things. We are generally it depends on the audience. It depends on who's asking that question. In the past, now we're sort of like, kind of steering to, so we've been visual branders. We've been sort of corporate video guys. We've been, we've done commercials, short films, docs, features. So we've done a lot of stuff. And so over the last 3 years, we're kind of trying to channel and focus our kind of aim in terms of what we're about. I love digital, the digital space. It's robust, all the platforms and all the creative collective sharing. I think it's a really cool marketplace right now, and better time than ever to be a creator, a creative and a content creator,
Yeah.
But for someone like us with Lola Pop, it's kind of like, you get into a lot of the rooms you get into, you're kind of like having to go, okay, well, who do I need to be? What do I need to do? What are the things I need to do to get this particular job? And where do we need to steer? So we're doing long form, which we just came off a short form thing, or vice versa. So, I think for an agency like us, who's a small agency, we're having to be very adaptive so that we can stay in business, frankly. And we do. I think we do pretty good work. We have a lot of different clients who range in, international, companies, corporations, to small businesses, to, things that are more editorial, to things that are more, less editorial, more informative. So we just kind of like, Lola Pop, our logo, if you haven't checked it out, is the Griffith. So, and I honestly, that's the only thing, like Lola Pop, I can't really tell you how the hell that popped into my head. But the Griffith, honestly, that too, I was just kind of like, okay, let's just use the Griffith because it's cool. But actually, it's like, it's a mystical thing. It's like, it's what is it? It's a bird. It's got all, so it's like three-headed monster kind of vibe. So we are kind of the Griffith in that sense, because we do so many things. We evolve based on what we need to be on a given project or assignment, So yeah, we're just, at the end of the day, we're visual creators, we're storytellers, I think. We're filmmakers. And now in a digital world, that can mean a lot of different things, So, and I think it's about context, where we just kind of fit into whatever context. Like the slate of projects that we have now kind of speaks to that. We're doing a documentary for the History Channel that's a ship with gold that went down in the 1800s, and we're starting a new film or development on a new film with an old doo-wop band that sang a really famous song. And we're going to do a series on that. We're in development and doing a series on that. And then, of course, to keep the wheels moving, we do a whole lot of other sort of, like just visual branding, messaging kind of content.
So when someone comes to you, like a client, right? Let's say it's like for a commercial, right? Nike or whatnot. Just spitballing here. Did they give you a vision, an idea? They provide you with the materials, or they just give you sort of a outline of what they want, and you guys are the creators and you make it happen for them? Like, what sort of collaboration? I'm sure it varies on projects too, and different things you guys are work on, but what's your involvement and what's the client's involvement?
Yeah, so typically, Well, so there's lots of ways to do it, to your point. So, in an ad agency context, we would get a creative brief from an ad agency. They would kind of do like a high level creative. And then they would show that to us and maybe a couple of other production companies. And then we would in turn write a treatment or kind of give them a pitch on how we would sort of, activate and execute their brief. And then depending on the agency, depending on your relationship, and depending on their client and their marketing department, you have various levels of kind of carte blanche. I mean, some people are a little bit more, in your business and they want to make sure that, things are just so. And then other, projects, you get more carte blanche. They want you to run and take the ball with it once they kind of believe in you. And then the other way is, you just go business to business. We get a lot of our clients who come straight from, like whether it's for us, it's a referral or however they appear to us in our network. They don't come through ad agencies, so they'll come through their marketing department. And we've had instances where marketing departments have kind of a fleshed out, idea generally with, sort of some overall vision of what they're doing with all their other collateral. But in other cases, they don't know what they're doing. They have zero idea. And, which is great because let's collaborate, work together. Sometimes they don't know what they're doing and want to, it can be a little difficult because, because you're trying to sort of, baby step through a process. But yeah, I mean, but generally that's, I think, at least for what we've done, that's kind of the general dynamics of how a production will play out.
Mm-hmm.
There's really no exact science to it, from what I've seen, I mean, some clients work the same, some ad agencies work the same, there's a rhythm there, but, in the vast universe of marketing, agencies or creative agencies and marketing departments, everybody's got a lot of a different, they come with a different formula.
Kenny, you're kind of the video enthusiast, I'm guessing here. Fair to say?
Yeah, no, I think what I do talk to a lot of our clients. I'm usually like the liaison, and I do tell them we're not just point and click guys. And so I think that is the beauty of what we do. If people do need help creatively, they can come to us and, we can really help people flesh out. And also sometimes they come to us with an idea and we can help them expand on that idea into something that maybe they didn't even think about or something that may not even be evergreen. We can help them create some evergreen projects. So, our goal, I think, at Lola Pop is for especially our business clients is that they get an ROI out of us, that they don't just come and use us once and then, we never see them again. We like to build long-term relationships with our clients. I think that's really important. And then over the years, I mean, geez, we've had clients that have been around since I've started with the company. So that's been really awesome. And they become friends and we really just start to build business together. And, that's the way we like it. So
in terms of actual content, because we're in a day and age where it's short attention spans, people have so much content out there to digest and go with. What do you guys from your work have kind of discovered in today's 2023? What kind of sells and what is that thing that pops and stands out to kind of not only the clients, but the people who they want to, send out this project to ultimately, the consumers out there? Is it visual, the first thing that catches people's attention? Is it still the story that matters? Is it the sound too? Because that matters. What do you kind of think are the big keys to creating content that is it stands out and gets people's attentions in a day and age where attention spans are shorter than ever?
Yeah, but it depends on the platform, right? So, and it depends on sort of the context of the platform. So, I'm a bit of a purist in the sense that I think that the medium that we work on is a visual medium. So I'm personally, as an audience, I'm drawn to things that look pretty and look cool. So if you can catch me with a great visual, I'm going to be hooked and I'll pay attention. And if you want to tell a story, then let's go there too. And then I'll, then it's about the story at that point, right? Someone will be bored. I was just looking at eye candy, but I'll give points for eye candy. That's just me. I'm superficial. But but music, also it all matters. All those things kind of converge. But I think in a lot of other areas, I mean, we've done, Tony Robbins has been a client of ours for over a decade. And, that's not about lights, magic and, just all kinds of cool shit. He's sort of like what's cool, right? That he's the guy that kind of carries the message. So there's not a lot you're going to do with that as far as like bringing your creative nuance to it. So you have to kind of be, you have to understand what your client wants or producer wants. You have to understand what their vision is, and then B, who is the audience, and what are they gonna vibe to? I mean, if some people need that kind of that medicine stuffed in a cookie to kind of get the message. Other people just want the medicine. They just want to see the data. They just want to see the material. So you have to be aware of that when you're approaching a client in the first place. Understand like what's you don't want to get in the way with your artistic like need to express yourself, right? That can be hard. Unless you're doing straight up commercial, right? If you're doing straight up commercial work for Apple or a fashion brand or whatever, then that's why they hired you. But a lot of commercial commercial video really has to move a message, as opposed to just something that looks great. So there's the trade-off. It really just depends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing I'm thinking here on the run too is like with content constantly changing. I mean, the stuff that was in 5 years ago is completely gone now. It's just constantly evolving faster than ever. We've gone decades with certain things and getting used to, but now it's such a fast process of content evolving and moving on, and new things coming out. What do you guys kind of foresee in the near future being the next wave? I know now the shorts are kind of the thing, especially on digital platforms too. What do you guys kind of foresee, and how do you prepare too for the new things that are coming into the marketplace and kind of the new creative endeavors that are doing? How do you guys are on top of your game in a sense, knowing the new trends and the softwares to make them happen and all that? Because it's something I'd imagine you have to be on top of constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think the one thing is that we have a great foundation of storytelling. And I think as a production company, storytelling is always going to be important. So that for me is like something that I sleep well at night, just knowing that we are good storytellers. Our editors are really good at putting together stories. But I think AI is a big disruptor, all of the AI tools that are coming out. And it's funny, Giovanni and I talk about this, but I saw AI really quickly. And I just kind of dove into it, and I started to just kind of see it. I go, this is going to be interesting for VFX people and the people that make their money through graphic design. A lot of that stuff is a click of a button now. And so I know that's something that our editing team has started to kind of jump into now. And it's pretty amazing. The things that you'd have to pay a graphic artist or a VFX artist a lot of money, now you can type something in and AI is taking care of the rest. So I know that.
Do you embrace that, Kenny? Do you embrace that sort of AI feature? I mean, it makes it easier for sure for others. But do you guys kind of embrace what it has to offer, or still rely on the human form to
Kenny has an AI implanted in his head right now. Kenny's embraced it so much that I don't even know if we're talking to Kenny or AI. He loves it. I'll let you, because he's about it. He's about it. They need to pay him.
I absolutely embrace it, especially as a producer. It's so helpful for a lot of the things that maybe I would have to, research. It's almost like having an assistant that's a genius. And so I love it. Now, obviously there's creative things that I don't think AI is going to be able to replace. Like, it's not going to be able to replace like people like Giovanni, whose this creativity comes out of their head. It's not going to be able to replace that. But for me, if someone says, hey, we need a summary on this, I don't want to spend 3 or 4 hours looking at their website when AI can do it like that. So there's a lot of things that I think it's going to be beneficial for. And a lot of people in the industry, they're going to have to pivot. So it's technology, and technology wrecks a lot of things. So I do feel for a lot of the artists. I've got friends who are in that world, and it's tough for them. But I don't think we can stop the advancement of AI because it affects some people. I think they're just going to need to adjust and pivot like we all do,
It's here to stay, basically, in that context, right? Even though might be pushback, but I feel like it's getting more popular, no matter what.
It's here to stay, and the writers will use it. the writers will use it, and they should. I mean, it's whether it's to get an idea or to collate research, structure, whatever, to proof, edit, whatever. They should use it, and we should all, frankly, use it. It's another way of collaboration, right? But I think there's a point by which if you lean into it too hard and you use it to kind of, do your job, then the work will probably, show. And frankly, your job won't be a job. They'll give it to AI anyway. So
Yeah.
I think human capital is obviously, it's important. And I think that people need not be threatened by new technology, even if it's smarter than you, smarter. Like it's really just, picking. It's like Google, frankly.
Yeah. We adjusted to that, and everyone seems to use that and can't live in a world without Google, right?
And people were scared as hell of Google in the first, for the same reason. They're like, oh, what are we gonna, they're gonna tell us how to think, and how the government's gonna populate this and all that. We're gonna anything. But that's it's the way you use technology. Technology is it's not only here to stay, but it's it's what we do as humans. So we have to figure out how we not just embrace it, but how we use it as a tool. It's a tool. It's all, But I think that going back also to your original question about like how everything is changing so rapidly is like what we see with the strike, right? I mean, it's the longest strike in the history of strikes, right? For SAG and all that. And I think, and they're still striking, right? The actors are still striking. And I think that's because of where we are right now with streaming digital platforms. I mean, 15 years ago, we wouldn't be talking to you. You wouldn't have a show. We'd have you either go through Oprah or some other gatekeeper to have a format where you can control the narrative and open up a platform to different ideas and points of views. I think it's a really healthy thing, and like anything else, cream rises to the top. There's always something for everyone. Everyone has a niche. Everyone has a voracious appetite for what they like. So I remember when I first started doing digital stuff, like about 15 years ago, and then 10 years ago, people started getting wise. All the marketing people said, well, here, you want to have, your video can't be longer than 2 minutes, or it has to be 10 minutes. There has to be like a number. Not true anymore, right? I mean, the running time works for commercials because they buy ads based on 30 seconds. So yes, but like case in point, as we're here, you probably edit most of the shit I'm saying out because I'm long-winded. So, but the point is that
I'm keeping it.
You can have a 30-minute or an hour show. It just depends on if the content is interesting, if it's relevant, if it's viable to your audience. Go. We want to see as much as possible. Break this shit into like 5 different episodes if the content's good. So, but if it's bad, we're gonna switch it. That's human nature, man. When we get bored, we're turning it off. So we're figuring this out now. The Actors Guild is figuring that out the hard way. SAG is figuring that out the hard way. And frankly, on that note, I think they've done some really bad deals to put them here, and I don't think that they're really caught up to the nature of what's going on. I think it's more independent than it's ever been. That's what it should always be. This should all be independent. It shouldn't be run by 3 factories.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point. I was going to kind of ask you about this whole world about like content creation. I mean, people are able to get past the gatekeeper. There's no gatekeepers anymore. You can make your own money. You can create your own content without people telling you how to do it or when to do it or what way to do it. Do you think the barriers are going to just keep on kind of falling apart for the gatekeepers, for the big sort of studios or big conglomerates, and the more just kind of independence rising to high ranks?
I hope so, but I think that like we live in this capitalism, right? So what we know is that we generally will figure out a way. YouTube will ultimately, I don't want to be like Mr. Debbie Downer, but I'm just saying like in 10, 15 years, it's already happening, right? YouTube is monetized. That was unthinkable, like, 10 years ago, whatever. It's a collective of artists and randomness and thoughts. And now it's like another version of TV. I watch it as another version of TV. And hence production value has gone up. And so it'll become another studio. I mean, they already have, YouTube TV, right? Now. So YouTube, I think, and now they put movies on and stream it. So I really hope that YouTube stays, loyal to its mission statement, which is letting content creators become content creators, people who didn't know that they had even a point of view, express a point of view, and just let us collaborate on an international level. I hope they don't just, start closing that down. I'm hoping that they'll spin it off into other things where they can do that with, but we don't know, right? Because again, capitalism. I'm not trying to be like I'm, communist or communist, because I live in a capitalist world and we try to, we're we do. But just saying, like, I think it does have a way of stifling really good ideas and evolution, right? Energy, right? I mean, as an example, right? Like, solar and gas to batteries. I think they do the same thing in broadcast and frankly anywhere that you can make a profit. So we'll see. But this is a really good time right now if you're trying to, or if you think you want to, if you have an ambition to do, we'll say content creation, then you're in a really good, this is a really good environment to do that. Really good time. Best time ever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just with cameras and being so accessible and editing and all of that stuff, it's completely different. And so, I've come off a couple of short films, and $5,000-$10,000, you can make something that looks ridiculous, and I don't think that was you could do that 10-15 years ago. And so now, people are shooting stuff with their iPhones, really small FX3s. They're shooting big feature films, blockbusters. So I think the accessibility of, creating good looking things is there. But again, I think people are going to have to come back to storytelling, because I find myself watching older programs now on Netflix. I'm kind of skipping past the new stuff, because it's like every time I start something new, I turn it off after about 10 minutes, and I just go watch something I watched 15 years ago, because the story's amazing, and it just so I think we're going to find out really quickly who the storytellers are. But I also think that's good, because if you've got that skill set, I think you're going to rise to the top and be able to make some money once you can navigate the town a little bit.
Yeah, it's all about that, because everyone wants to create or be part of the conversation or have their stuff, but ultimately it is still about quality at the end. I mean, you guys have to put out quality work to get those customers back and clients back, right? Because if it was just like, a machine, you're spinning thugs out and taking a million projects, then it's just the quality isn't there. So it ultimately still comes down to quality at the end, and the talent still comes out. Because I mean, you can have a lot of fish in the water, but how many are ones you want to catch?
Yeah, I like to think that's the case. Yeah.
I'm curious. So I forgot to ask earlier, how many people you guys have working for Lola Pop in your company?
So at any given time, like at its most basic, if nothing was happening, if like we're just sort of in development and nothing is going on a project, it's really me and Kenny. But then once we start to go and we may stack a slate of projects 12 deep. And as we do that, we start to onboard, associate producers, more editors and everything. It's just, we scale depending on the project. Again, as a smaller business, we can't just have like a, 5,000 square feet of office space with just empty desks while we're trying to go hustle work. And that's just not, we kind of like to stay nimble and quiet. And frankly, I'm not at a place right now where I think I'm more about the content and doing like the whole artist thing. I don't really want to have like a giant business, so to speak. I think business is a result of the quest to do what I want to do, which is, tell stories and be a filmmaker. So, and it's cool. I want to work with a bunch of people, whatever, but not really trying to have like a, 500 people working with me.
Working efficiently. That's what it is, right? If you need more, you can always get more. Yeah, it's a smart way of approaching, kind of a self-starter business, that way for long term.
I'm constantly like meeting people around town, talented people. So, freelancing, we find those freelancers, because if you just hire someone, it's kind of like, okay, now this person works here, versus saying like, you know what, I know 10 talented associate producers, and maybe this associate producer is great for this, and maybe this person's great for this. So I think it also gives us that freedom as well, to kind of
depends on your business model. Like, it totally makes sense to have 25, 50 people on staff all the time if you have sort of clients and you have this certain mission statement that mandates that. If you've got 20 different videos to do in a given week, then you need a force to do that. We just don't want to operate like that. We don't want to be like, we want to work, and not say quantity versus quality, but we don't want to do like just a bunch of stuff, or like all this. It's a grind at that point. At that point, I feel like I'm in a factory for me. Personally. I don't want to do that. That's not why I got into the hustle. I wanted to, I want to do something different than the last thing all the time. And sometimes that takes time. It takes startup time, right? It takes energy, startup energy, and so if I have to pay like 50 people in the background come to work, I'm like, I guess I was going to go do the grind thing where we're just manufacturing projects that aren't that exciting to me. That's just me. That's just how we get down.
Makes sense. Where can people find you guys? What are the links and things you want to share for potential clients or those interested? You guys do some good work. You have some samples on your website clearly to see what this type of stuff you guys have put out. But where are the best places to reach you guys at?
Thank you. And where do we live? I don't know where we can.
So you can find our website, lolapopmedia.com. We also have a Lola Pop Media Instagram. And then we've got personal Instagrams, LinkedIn. So Kenny Johnson, Giovanni Digiacomo on LinkedIn. And I think those are all the places you can find us right now.
No, and your show.
Well, yeah.
Right here.
That's the visual.
If we make the cut, I don't know. We may not make the cut. So
you're a good talker, so I think the cut will be clean, and then very little edits. Maybe just some subtitles here and there, but everything else looks good. You guys are interesting. I was curious from the get-go. You guys are on top of your game, so I'm definitely curious to see how you're going to keep on plugging along and doing the work.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Thank you, man. Love your energy. No, your energy is awesome.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you.
It's natural.